and let us all do we can to build a better future.
In advance, please, audience, accept my apologies, because I must now speak her name. Hillary Clinton is back, as well as all the centrist Democrats. And there's all these articles.
She never went away. Come on.
I know. But there's all these articles now coming out in support of centrist Democrats telling progressives, we got to be pragmatic. Got to calm everything down. But thankfully, there are some progressives that are saying to Clinton and other corporate Democrats, back off on election advice. So there's an article here from Common Dreams written by Julia Conley. Progressives on Wednesdays dismissed arguments from corporate Democrats that the party should avoid going too far left, despite mounting evidence that voters are in desperate need of and demanding bold, far-reaching policies and social programs. Wow, I wish we had some progressive presidential candidate that then maybe, I don't know, cuck out and give up during the 2020 primary, during the Democratic primary. But, hey, he said that Biden was his good friend. Talk about good old Bernie. An article published Wednesday at The Hill quoted a recent NBC News interview with former Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, who lost the 2016 primary election to former President Donald Trump. Clinton advised the party to engage in careful thinking about what wins elections, suggesting that progressives who push for policies such as Medicare for All, transformative police reform, and student loan cancellation only have chances of winning in deep blue districts. Clinton's December comments came ahead of the 2020 midterm elections, in which Democrats face a potential loss in their razor-thin majorities in the U.S. Senate and House. Debate between progressives and so-called centrist Democrats means nothing if we don't have a Congress that will get things done, and we don't have a White House that we can count on to be sane and sober and stable and productive, added Clinton in her interview. So let me pause here for a second. Let's look at this picture about Clinton. She's saying that the time the Democrats had a supermajority in the House and Senate was in 2008, when Barack Obama was elected. They could have done a lot of things. They could have done, in theory, a lot of progressive, transformative policies that could have made the lives of working class citizens so much better, especially after the two. What did Barack Obama and the Democrats do? Give those who caused the crash, turn a blind eye. And now here you have Hillary Clinton, the person who lost to a reality TV show clown, saying, whoa, wait, we need more Democrats in. This is the same Democratic Party, mind you, that could, again, with Biden as president, through executive order, legalize cannabis, make student debt go away, make Medicare for All happen. 3 things through executive order. This is the same Democratic Party that's saying that we can't get things done, but yet they do have a majority in the House and Senate. But yet Manchin and Sinema have been a roadblock to everything, and a non-elected official known as her bosses, the vice president and president, what they can and cannot do. It's pretty pathetic and downright weak. Continuing on,
I just want to
go ahead.
clarify. That's not we're letting it happen. We want to make sure we don't want to fall in the trap of saying Democrats are useless and don't know what they're doing, because it's not accurate. They know exactly what they're doing. They're just choosing not to do anything about it.
True. Thank you for that correction. So going further, Matt Bennett, co-founder of centrist think tank Third Way, added that Democrats must approach the coming midterms the way Joe Biden was in 2020, mainstream, pragmatic, focused on issues that resonate. Well, the orange boogeyman's gone, so you don't have that until 2024, Democrats, so way to be pragmatic on that. But despite Clinton Bennett's confidence in her strategy, President Joe Biden worked closely with progressives to make his reform more appealing to younger voters, gained the backing of groups like Sunrise Movement, and convinced left-wing lawmakers and groups to campaign aggressively for him. Since entering the White House, Indivisible co-founder Lee Greenberg pointed out Biden has also worked in the Congressional Progressive Caucus to mold the Build Back Better agenda, the $1.75 trillion investment in climate social spending whose passage is currently stalled by right-wing Democrat Joe Manchin and also Senator Kristen Sinema. But what I want to say about that Build Back Better, remember, folks, it started at $7 trillion. Daniel, do you remember when Premier J. LaPolle was saying it was at $7 trillion?
I remember when she was saying
Yeah. All right. So there's been a lot of pushback, especially from people like Representatives Ilhan Omar, Cori Bush. There's also been tweets from even people like even Kyle Kulinski, who says, okay, well, I'm warning centrists to back off. Write an article about that. Who do they think is in the White House, and who do you think, and what do you think he is doing? You have your entire philosophy in place for the world to see, and they don't like it. Own it. People, especially Kyle and TYT, Majority Report, and a lot of other people were saying, we got to vote for Biden because we got to stop Trump.
Remember all that leverage we were going to gain by voting for him without any concessions?
Yeah.
And then when we had another time later where we could have tried to do anything, and they're like, no, don't do it either.
Remember how we got $15 minimum? Oh, never.
No,
Oh, yeah.
that was curtsied down.
Remember when we got Medicare?
Oh,
Wait, no. Remember when we got student?
Right. So
actually, no, we got like what, $3 million off.
Well, remember when marijuana was no longer a Schedule 1 drug?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. So the thing is,
remember when we demilitarized the border? Oh wait.
No.
Hey, how about when we demilitarized the? Oh wait, no, we didn't do that either. Hey, remember when we took the corporations and made them more? Oh wait, no, we didn't do that either. But I'm glad we voted for Biden.
Wait, kids are out of cages though, right?
Oh, there's more kids in cages than before.
Oh, Ratzenheimer. Well, folks, so here's the thing.
We're not in Afghanistan. I mean, we just, except for the private contractors we put in there.
Right? I mean, we're saying that the climate crisis is a thing.
Yes, but it's still
not.
But
I can say a lot of things.
But see, there's.
I mean, that's a step. That's a progress, right?
Well, there's also a bigger picture that we have to look at here. You have the centrist Democrats knowingly saying and talking down to voters and independents, oh, you got to vote for us and stop asking us to do things for you. That's how Daniel pointed out. But the arrogance of the Democratic Party and a lot of up to the fact, and all those of you who are browbeaten and yelled at that you got to vote for Biden, don't fall for the trap in 2022 and 2024, because there's this other video that's coming out right now. I want to play it from Case Study QB, where you had people basically facing what has Biden delivered towards the activist community, towards community organizers, towards people that aggressively voted for him. He's given them nothing. Let's play this video from Case Study QB.
Alexei, some progressives, as well as voting and civil rights groups, skipped Biden's speech today. After the speech, the president of the NAACP said this, quote, while President Biden delivered a stirring speech today, it's time for this administration to match their words with actions and for Congress to do their jobs. Was skipping today a warning to Biden? We don't show up for you on your speech, and we're not showing up for you or Democrats come Election Day if you don't deliver.
That wasn't the message they were sending. And I asked them during this Zoom in which they announced that they weren't going, what they would basically say to voters for why they should show up and still support the Democratic Party and Democratic candidates if they aren't able to deliver on federal voting rights. And these folks said it's not about ditching the Democratic Party or ditching Democratic candidates or Biden. It's about continuing to do the work. And I think that's what their absence said more than anything. They were saying, look, President Biden, thanks for coming to Atlanta, but we'd rather you be giving this speech in Washington, D.C. to senators on Capitol Hill. Their absence was saying we're still doing the work here in Georgia and across the country to educate voters, to register voters, to make sure they know what to do come 2022. Because voting, as you know and started the hour with, in 2022 and beyond will really depend based on where you live.
There's also another twist, too, that maybe she should have asked leadership. Hey, leadership, especially those groups in Georgia, can you bring your followers out to support Biden? Because there's a lot of members and people who are saying no, and leadership cannot affect. Say, yeah, we could bring our crowds of people, and those same leaders can't bring their fellow supporters. Let's face it, we all have our different points of view and perspectives. If all their membership and supporters and organizers are saying, why do I want to turn out for Biden? He hasn't done anything for us. Leadership basically has to say, yeah, let's come up with a cock and bull story and say, yeah, do that in Washington, D.C. Yeah. That's why we're not here. We're still doing the work. No, the thing is, the work is they don't probably have enough volunteers and supporters to show up to boost Biden's image. Because a lot of people are waking up to the fact we're not getting UBI. We don't have a federal job security. We're not doing anything about climate change. Nothing about student debt. Nothing about medical bankruptcy or medical debt. The Democrats, in theory, can do a lot of stuff. They're choosing not to. Daniel's pointed out. Again, let's be very clear. The Democrats know that they can get stuff done. It's just Nancy, Biden, and Harris don't want to. They don't want to because there's no incentive for them to do so because they take your vote for granted. They don't care about you. They only care about their donors and can donate to their campaign. And that's it. So if you're an independent or a progressive, you're somehow holding out for hope for the Democratic Party to perform in some of these ways. No matter how the midterm's going to play out, whether Republicans gain control of the House and Senate, or the House and Senate's 50-50 between the Democrats and Republicans, or the Democrats somehow out of the blue, unintended, keep a majority in House and Senate, nothing is going to fundamentally change. I want to bring in Kira. I want to know you have some commentary you have to add in on this too. So Kira.
I mean, I don't even know what to start articles. So I'll just start with the obvious Democrats will, of course, fight. Like, how do we Hillary?
Yeah, and there's talk about her running again in 2024.
There, no.
Yes,
People are making that up. That's oh, that would be a nightmare. So anyway, so that's, I mean, obvious. Beyond that, except for me, you want to like most of her commentary. You know, for example, she says in the article that I read.
Wait,
totally. We're pausing.
We're having some audio.
All right. Now, hello. So, anyway, my mic is out. Sorry about that. Hopefully, the shift here changes things for all of you. So, but anyway, her commentary isn't even based in any level of evidence, you know. And I'm not saying that polling is the most, you know, firmly sound thing to go off of, but it's a thing to go off of other than your loser opinion, right? And so it's like to say something like Medicare is not a popular position is not based in anything, because Medicare for All has a 75% approval rating among Democratic voters. And if you're talking to me about trying to get Republican voters, then why even have a Democratic Party? What are you doing? Right? And that's one of those old conversations too, where it's just, well, we should get some of those Republican voters. No, that's not going to happen. And Medicare for All is also polling at about 52% among independents. So a majority of independents also believe that Medicare for All should be a thing. Data for Progress found that 54% of likely voters think that Biden should use executive authority to cancel $50,000 in student debt. 37% said he should not. Right? So again, she's just saying things and getting her things that she's saying published willy-nilly, and it's not based in any kind of evidence. It's ridiculous. And I don't remember if the article that you had sent over had mentioned like, oh, hey, she's saying all this stuff, but actually here's what's polling. The only thing that her commentary aligns with when it comes to polling is the statement, defund the police. The only thing. But getting rid of private prisons is actually very popular. You know, and so I just think that like that's how they sway popular opinion, though, right? Is like they just put this stuff up on the airwaves, and people are like, oh yeah, it must be because, you know, the socialists are taking over the Democratic Party, when anything but that is actually true. And and then the last thing I'll say about all of this, because I could go on and on about this silliness, is what I'm really tired of seeing. I think maybe most of all, maybe next to the corruption, obviously, but like what I'm really tired of seeing is people not taking responsibility who are in positions of leadership. Like that's just unacceptable, you know. So that's all I'll say.
So this goes to like, you know, same story we've talked about a dozen different times on the subject, and that is we've already won on the issue. We don't really need a progressive movement even for that. It's already there. Medicare for All, won. student debt relief, 1. Not putting kids in cages, 1. Every issue has basically already been decided and has been decided for years in many cases. Only a few have come around in the last couple years, but they've all been decided. The only people that are really talking about this in any way, like Hillary was talking about, is the elites. They're the people that have not made consensus. And as we know in America, if you, the regular American, wants something done, who cares? Not the government, not your elected officials. What do the rich want? Well, that's a different story that a lot of people care about. And those rich people have a lot of stocks, and they have stocks in private prisons. They have stuff, and you can't, so they're naturally against cannabis because that hurts it. They're against freeing people because that hurts it. They're against Medicare for all because they're so invested in, medical stocks, device stocks. So, to Kit's point as well, everyone's point in this, we've already won. America has settled. We know our response. We know where we're at. We know all the pieces, and we have known for a while. It's the elected officials who must start acting like elected officials.
One other thing, too, that I think we all here agree at Hard Lens Media, and I hope we can, again, convey this message to all of you. These politicians, they don't deserve your vote. They have to earn your vote. And so far, I'm not going to vote Democrat. I'm not going to vote Republican because the Republican Party will never fight for any progressive issue. I will support third parties, and I'll support ballot initiatives. I'm going to vote down ballot. That's what I'm going to do. But I will not contribute to the two-party neoliberal system. Not to the Democratic Party and not to the Republican Party. And I'm tired of hearing advice from politicians who are long since past their prime, who come from a different era in the United States, trying to tell us how we need to vote and how things should be done. We've seen them when they are at their height of power and how they do nothing. So my advice to Hillary Clinton and the corporate Democrats, sit down. You tried this before. You're going to fail us again, and I'm tired of being disappointed. So I will move on. And if it makes me a bad guy to vote blue no matter who, or diehard Republican vote red, well, I'm not going to be a puppet to a two-party system where I know I will not have a seat at the table.